All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. We're starting here talking about a new rumor that is beginning to circulate regarding Venom, or a standalone Venom game. And I do want to say, first and foremost, take this with a grain of salt because I'm not too familiar with the source here, and I don't know if the source has a good track record or not. But still, it might be worth covering just in case it does turn out to be true. Also because people have been asking me for quite some time, like if this Venom game is actually real or not. So I figured, I'll give you the latest update. So for those who are unfamiliar, back in, I believe, December of 2023, there was a massive Insomniac Games hack where pretty much all of their contents leaked out onto the internet, including their roadmap. And on that roadmap, well, there were two different roadmaps. One said that Venom was going to be releasing this year in 2025, and a different roadmap said that it was actually going to be releasing in 2027. But now we have an insider update regarding Insomniac Games from the Mag Show, where, according to this individual, they were told by an insider source that Venom is actually going to be releasing in 2026. And that Wolverine is going to be a 2027 title. And when it comes to Spider-Man 3, it might end up being a 2029 cross-gen release. Now, as I said, take this with a grain of salt, but, when we consider the leaked roadmaps for Insomniac Games, and Venom was prominently placed on there, but we haven't heard anything officially yet. A lot of people think that maybe it was canceled, and it very well could have been canceled, but there is also the possibility that it is real, and it's something they've been working on for some time now, and it will be ready next year. Now, when it comes to Wolverine releasing in 2027, another reason I actually think this is believable is because Wolverine has been facing some kind of development issue or some type of hurdle that we heard about, I believe, last year, where the director of the game, I think a director and a producer actually were replaced or left, and there was just a leadership shakeup there. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Wolverine is actually further out than we realize. But yeah, I think the real question is whether or not this Venom game is actually going to be a real thing. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything, but if you play Spider-Man 2, you could certainly see how they would make a Venom game work. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this. We're going to move on to the next topic, which is actually a sales update for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. This is being reported by Push Square. They say physical UK video game sales are almost dead in the water, but that does not stop early conclusions from being drawn from them. At the start of the week, Death Stranding 2 opened up to a 66% drop in physical sales in the region compared to the first game. Now, we have data from Ampere, and it's estimated that the PS5 exclusive sold 1.4 million units by the end of June. The game has had a slower start than the original in terms of physical sales across Europe, but digital sales have been stronger, said the game business in a new post. Further, while Sony itself doesn't attach hard figures to its monthly sales table, we know that Death Stranding 2 was the best-selling digital PS5 game in the US for the month of June, and the fourth best-selling in Europe. Compared to the original, it's not clear how well it sold during its first weeks or months on the market, but as of July 2021, it was confirmed to have surpassed 5 million units once the PC version had come out. Death Stranding 2 will almost certainly receive ports for PC and possibly Xbox and potentially even Switch 2 in the future, so the sequel will ultimately have a long tail. With 1.4 million sales supposedly already in the bag, there's a very strong chance that Death Stranding 2 will outsell the first game in time. This is mostly thanks to digital sales being stronger. So yeah, wanted to give you guys this update because we did cover the physical UK sales, which did not paint a good picture. But now we're getting some data that seems to indicate that this game is actually off to a pretty strong start. 1.4 million for the month of June, which when you consider that this game launched on, June 24th for the early access, that's not too bad at all. And you have to wonder if maybe it's picked up a little bit since I know that there were quite a few people who were planning on getting this game like a couple weeks or maybe a month after it launched. They're, trying to play the first game or, get a recap on the first game. So they're holding off a little bit there. But overall, some good news for Death Stranding 2. I want to see this game do very well because we really just don't get many games like this that are actually this unique. So, I certainly hope it outsells the first game. But we're moving on to the next topic, which talks about the spin-off Destiny mobile game. And it seems as though this is going to be the first major success for Sony in the mobile sector. The Destiny Rising Twitter account says 5 million pre-registrations. Destiny Rising officially hit 5 million pre-registrations. Thank you for the incredible support, Lightbearers. 10 Bon Voyage charms will be distributed to all player accounts once we officially launch. This is just the beginning. For those not in the know, pre-registrations are a bit like pre-orders, except you just commit for your mobile marketplace of choice to install the free-to-play game on your device once it's ready. No money is exchanged, so the numbers are often quite high. Companies will typically offer rewards for reaching pre-registration milestones, with 10 Bon Voyage charms promised at launch here. We suspect they will factor into the game's gacha system, presumably as a means to unlock new characters and weapons. But yeah, this I think is important to highlight because we often talk about how Sony's acquisition of Bungie maybe was not good at all. Very misguided, they overpaid, but it does seem like, at least in this area, it might end up being worthwhile because Sony has been wanting to break out in the mobile sector for a long time now, and they have had pretty much no success, at least with the PlayStation side of things. That might change here with Destiny Rising because, 5 million pre-registrations is certainly significant. So I will keep you guys updated. I mean, this is a game, frankly, I'm not even remotely interested in. But, at the end of the day, if the acquisition of Bungie ends up being good for one thing, and that is that, well, hey, it gives us a significant presence in the mobile space, and I guess, that's better than it being a complete failure, from top to bottom. Moving on to the next topic, we're talking about Where the Winds Meet, a new trailer that came out that at the end of the trailer did explicitly confirm that this game is going to be a 6-month timed exclusive for PS5. And it does say at least 6 months, insinuating that there could be some kind of extension to that. And I think that the timing of this is interesting and worth pointing out because, yes, we did just see Sony announce Helldivers 2 is going to be launching on Xbox next month. But at the same time, we see them still locking down, timed exclusives with third-party titles like this for the console. This isn't necessarily anything new. Sony's been doing this all generation. They've done it in previous generations. And, it does seem to be, I guess, doing something, producing some type of result for Sony that they like because they continue to strike these 6-month or so deals with some of these Chinese games. So there you go. Let me know if Where the Winds Meet is a game that you've been looking forward to playing on PS5, and let me know what you think about them locking down the timed exclusivity. Moving on to the final topic of the video, it's an update with Naughty Dog, specifically Neil Druckmann and Helly Gross seemingly walking away from the Last of Us HBO series to start, focusing on game development. So the original story here comes from Naughty Dog's own account on Twitter, where they say, "To our Naughty Dog community, we wanted to let you know that studio head Neil Druckmann delivered the following message to our team this morning. He says, I've made the difficult decision to step away from my creative involvement in The Last of Us on HBO. With work completed on Season 2 and before any meaningful work starts on Season 3, now is the right time for me to transition my complete focus to Naughty Dog and its future projects, including writing and directing our exciting next game, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, along with my responsibilities as studio head and head of creative. Co-creating the show has been a career highlight. It's been an honor to work alongside Craig Mazin to executive produce, direct, and write on the last 2 seasons. I'm deeply thankful for the thoughtful approach and dedication the talented cast and crew took to adapting The Last of Us Part 1 and the continued adaptation of The Last of Us Part 2. But to add to this, there was also an update from Helly Gross, who says, with great care and consideration, I've decided to take a step back from my day-to-day work on HBO's The Last of Us to make space for what comes next. I'm so appreciative of how special this experience has been. Working alongside Neil, Craig, HBO, and this remarkable cast and crew has been life-changing. The stories we told about love, loss, and what it means to be human in a terrifying world are exactly why I love this franchise. I have some truly rad projects ahead that I can't wait to share, but for now, I want to express my gratitude to everyone who brought Ellie and Joel's world to life with such care. So this is certainly worth highlighting for a couple of reasons, mainly because I think it lets us know that, yeah, Naughty Dog is now full steam ahead with not just Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. I think it's safe to say they've been full steam ahead with that game for some time. But, you know, Neil Druckmann references multiple projects, and we know that there is a second game that's been in development for a little while now that, you know, Neil Druckmann is probably going to have some hand in helping facilitate. He did make it clear that he's kind of acting as a producer on that title and helping them just, you know, make important decisions on it. We don't know what that game is, but, you know, this is confirmation to me that his time needs to be kind of completely committed to these upcoming games, and he's just simply not going to be able to work on Season 3. If that's not the case, it could also mean that maybe there are some creative differences with the direction that HBO wants to go in with Season 3 for The Last of Us, and, you know, maybe Neil Druckmann and Haley Gross, they are in disagreement, you know, with HBO and they want to walk away. But either way, I don't really know that this is necessarily a surprise. Season 2 just seems to have not been received as well as Season 1. And I actually don't think it's Neil Druckmann's fault, because the 2 episodes that he directed apparently were the ones that people liked the most. It's actually the episodes that Craig Mazin wrote and directed and had complete control of that people seem to have the biggest problem with. So the fact that Neil and Haley Gross are not going to be part of Season 3 at all, you know, it'll be interesting to see the reactions to Season 3 when it comes out, for sure. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.